Hey everyone, Jay here. Good to see you guys again. So today I've actually been desperate to jump into this video. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of been a really full-on week, and all week I've been wanting to get on a live and start talking about these important topics, because things happen to me every day in life. Things happen to me in my relationships, things happen to me in my work, life just happens to me. And I think it's important to always reflect and pull on those lessons so I can find opportunities to share with others. And today I want to talk to you about expectation in a relationship. What do I mean by this? So if you didn't know, recently I got engaged. I was over in Morocco, and I decided that it was time to commit, and it was time to propose to my now fiance, and that still sounds really weird saying that, Vicky. And one of the things that came up after I'd actually proposed was this conversation, and it's never an easy conversation, and I'll share another example of this style of conversation in a minute and how that developed. But this conversation about, okay, so we're going to do this, right? We're going to get married, me and you. We're going to spend the rest of our lives together. What is your expectation of a husband? What is your expectation of your wife? How do you want your wife to show up for you? How do you want your girlfriend to show up? How do you want the mother of your children to show up for you? How do you see that happening? Now, I'm not saying that you pull out a massive list and these are demands you actually make for your new wife or your fiance or your girlfriend, whatever it is. But it's a conversation that I think is really important, because let me just give you some context to this. Let's just say that you're in a relationship and you're someone who has a high sex drive. A lot of men have high sex drives. Not all men, but men do. And you are someone that gets into a relationship, and in the beginning it's really full on. It's great. You're getting as much sex as you need. Life is fantastic. But you don't necessarily have a conversation about what is expected in terms of sex. So how many times a week do you want to have sex? Now, this is not if we don't have sex 4 times a week, then the whole thing is over. But is it realistic to actually set some expectation about what is important to you as a man? And vice versa, what is important to a woman in the relationship? Because if you, for example, haven't set this expectation that you want sex so many times a week, and over a period of time when you grow out of the honeymoon period, which tends to happen normally between the 3 and 5 year mark, you start having sex twice a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month maybe. And inside, as a guy, you'll start yourself feeling more frustrated, probably find yourself masturbating more. And this will build up and build up and build up. And if you haven't had this conversation in the first place, you probably, and I'm going to take a guess, will find it very difficult to raise and have this conversation later on down the line. So if you can't have the conversation with your fiance, your wife, your partner about this topic, is it ever going to get resolved? It's not like they're magically all of a sudden going to become super driven to have sex with you 4 times a week if they're having it once a month or once every 2 weeks or once a week. Maybe they are. Maybe something will change for them. But it's unlikely. So you're going to have to be able to go and have that conversation. But if you haven't, a better way to do that is to set the expectation of what you want out of a relationship. And I think this is really, really important. And this is exactly what I did with my new fiancée, Vicky. We sat down and we discussed, what does it mean to be a wife? What does it mean to be a husband? What does that look like for you? And by having these open conversations, it means that the problem doesn't arise. It means that if we end up having sex once a month and I'm unfulfilled in the relationship, I'm not going to go and find it somewhere else. People don't communicate these things, they don't make these powerful agreements, and as a result they find themselves living in a world of expectation, and when that expectation isn't being met, guess what? You get pissed off, you're unfulfilled, and you go and find somewhere else to get your expectation met. Here's another example, a really popular one among guys, I'm sure. In the beginning of a relationship, we're all making an effort. I remember when I was single, I'd be in the gym, and one of the things I'd be doing is I'd be in the gym 1 for the girls, 2 for the beach, 3 for the holiday. And I'd be in the gym pushing out those extra reps. I'm sure it's not just me that did that. Maybe it is, I don't know. And I was making all of this effort to get myself in super fantastic shape. 6-pack, pecs, biceps, looking fantastic. And get into the relationship, and you're motivated and you continue to put that effort in for a degree of time. But after a degree of time, you slowly start to get comfortable, and all of a sudden it's cold outside, it's a winter's night, and I want to slump on the sofa, I don't want to work out anymore, and this just spirals, and all of a sudden you've got a big gut, your body's gone to shit, and you've stopped making an effort. Now this is exactly the same for women. We get comfortable, and that is an excuse for us to put on weight, apparently. Now, if you have a partner that's putting on weight, and you're looking at her and you're seeing that she's putting on weight, you might not then be as attracted to you as they were. This has happened to me in past relationships, by the way. And you have this expectation of her that she should want to go to the gym, that she should want to lose weight, that she should want to do this stuff. But that's your expectation of how she should behave. She's just behaving the way she is, but she doesn't have the knowledge or the understanding of how you'd like her to show up in the relationship in order to actually meet your needs. And people might argue with me about this, but I believe that if you don't set the precedents for the relationship and what you expect out of the relationship, out of each other, this is not about changing each other, it's just setting a solid and powerful agreement on how the perimeters for the relationship. And I'm not saying that your relationship is limited by this and you have to live by it by a book. But I think it's important to have these powerful conversations, because if you have them early on, or you have them at all in a relationship, it's going to make a massive difference to the success of your relationship and whether or not you are fulfilled in your relationship and you're happy and you're joyous and you're in love and every day feels like the first day you met, or you're in a relationship where you're unhappy, but maybe you're just being content and maybe you're just letting it tick over, hoping that something's going to change. It won't, in the hope that it will actually figure itself out. And I think that one of the keys to having a successful relationship, and I've had a few failed attempts like most guys, is to actually have these conversations and make these powerful agreements with one another. Good stuff. So that's me, relationships, big topic, something that we're never taught in school, and I believe they should teach it in school. And it's something that, as guys, I feel like it's more difficult to build relationships. It takes longer to build trust. It takes longer for us to open up. And so that's why I think it's such a powerful topic, an important one that stays top of mind and we continue to talk about every single day on these videos and in the conversation of men. So that's me for the day. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. If you've got any comments or feedback on this, let me know in the comments box. Or if you've got any questions for me and you don't want to post them publicly, then feel free to reach out and connect with me. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.